bill yesterday in his exclusive. And they're not just focused on 2011, these freshmen. 4 first-year Republicans, all from South Carolina, who rode the anti-establishment wave into Washington, now calling for game-changing financial reform. Think the GOP plan to cut $6 trillion in spending is radical? Well, these guys say it doesn't make a dent in the real source of our deficit. They want to cut $9 trillion. South Carolina Republican Mick Mulvaney is one of them, member of the House Budget and Joint Economic Committee. Welcome.
Hey, Allison, did you just call me spicy? Is that the description?
Feisty.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But perhaps we'll see how racy this gets. Listen, I understand that you don't like the budget that was hammered out late Friday night between the White House and Speaker Boehner. Are you going to vote for it on Thursday?
Let's be specific as to what you're talking about when you say I don't like the budget. We're still having discussions about 2011, which is different from Paul Ryan's 2012 budget, which I'm a big fan of. But when you talk about what happened last Friday night, I voted against it simply because I hadn't seen the terms yet. Still haven't seen the terms. We've been promised the details later on today in terms of where this additional $38 billion, actually additional $28 billion on top of the 10 that we already had, where those cuts are. I think it's important to see where the money's coming from, and then also see the detail on some of the riders that did make it through the debates.
So you don't know yet if you're going to vote for it or against it on Thursday?
Well, you know, during the campaign, a lot of us said that we're tired of folks voting for stuff they hadn't seen, so I think it's pretty consistent to say we'd like to see it before we say if we're going to vote for it.
Okay, fair enough. You just said that you're a fan of Congressman Paul Ryan's $6 trillion proposal in budget cuts, yet I understand you think it doesn't go far enough. What is Congressman Ryan missing?
Well, we think it's a tremendous statement of policy. In fact, it's going to be looked back, I think, as one of the landmark documents in our party's history. We just don't think it goes far enough in terms of balancing the budget quickly enough. So the Republican Study Committee will be building on what Congressman Ryan has done in our budget committee. I voted for it in committee. Again, very powerful document, but we'll be building on that to actually try and get the budget to balance within the 10-year window that the law sets forth for the budget.
You know that critics of Congressman Ryan call his plan too extreme. They say that it will hurt children and the elderly. I see that you're smiling. Certainly $9 trillion in cuts or whatever you're proposing might do that as well, no?
So you're telling me that opponents of Republicans are saying that we're going to hurt the children and the elderly? I've never heard that one before. So listen, what we try and do is balance the budget in 10 years. If nothing else, we lay out for folks back home who say, why can't you balance it today? Why can't you balance it next year? Why can't you balance it within the 10 years? Show folks back home exactly what it would take. Raising the retirement age very slowly on Social Security and Medicare, making other changes to entitlements to fix those systems and get the budget to balance in 10 years. We think it's important to lay out on the table and show folks exactly how deep a hole we've dug for ourselves.
Okay, so you're tackling entitlements. You say raise the retirement age to what?
In Social Security, we raise it from 67 to 70 by going to folks who are 59. We don't even touch folks who are 60 or older and say, look, can you work an additional 2 months? And we work down from there until we actually raise the age in Social Security to 70, the full retirement age to 70. Do the same thing in Medicare to raise the retirement age to 67.
Okay, I want to quickly get you on the record about raising the debt ceiling. Economists have said that this will be catastrophic. Jay Carney, the press secretary at the White House, called it Armageddon. Will you vote to raise the debt limit?
It's no more Armageddon and no more catastrophic than what we're doing right now, spending, $1.5 trillion we don't have this year. So I think it's important to keep it in perspective. I've said that I'd be more than willing to consider voting for the debt increase if it comes with real structural, what I've called cultural change to Washington. Not one-time savings, not a little bit of cost savings here or there, but something that changes the way this town does business. Because just nibbling around the edges and making small cuts here, small cuts there, even large one-time cuts here or there is not going to change the way this town does business. And until we change that, my guess is we don't ever get our house in order fiscally.
Congressman Mick Mulvaney, it'll be an interesting month. We'll look forward to having you back to see how you've voted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting month, too, and an interesting vote in a couple days.